I've decided to not draw today, but can do something completely different. Totally just, I don't think I've ever done one of these on my channel before, but when I came across this, I just had to. I honestly just had to. So let's mix it up today. Let's just do something a little bit different and let's make a clock tower. I got this kit for $25 and I thought that was a complete bargain. You can get this from a lot of other places for nearly $100. Now I thought that maybe this might have been a complete knockoff. Hey, it probably is a knockoff of that $100 one. I don't care because I got it for $25 and it's the same thing. Hey, I'm not judging. So I've already opened this up because I wanted to just make sure that everything was in this box before I decided to make this video, because if there wasn't anything, like if there's something missing or all the parts weren't completely in the box, then there was no point in making the video. So I'll put everything back where it was just to show you guys. So let's unbox this thing and I'll show you this wooden clock tower, retro clock tower. Basically, you get the instructions, and the instructions look pretty good. Like they're just, you know, right up my alley. They're pictures that show you what to do. Like I am by no means of a what do you call it, a beginner in wood kits, because I used to buy a shit ton of these. I used to buy wooden boat kits, all that sort of stuff. I used to put them all together, so this thing would be a complete cinch compared to all that. So there we go, we have the instructions, then we've got all these laser cut pieces, and these are meant to be like that. Looks like there's bits missing, but I've gone through the whole thing, there's definitely nothing missing. But yeah, it's a real sort of shiny material that they are made out of. So I'm pretty sure it's just like an MDF board or something like that. I think that's what it's called. So that's one sheet. So you get a second one. Some of these bits were just came out anyway. So there's the second one. Here's the third. And then the box, you get the plastic clock face, which is, yeah, just plastic. You get the clock itself with this little thing, which I presume just goes on there. And you get the, you know, the minute hand and all that sort of stuff. I'm gonna get rid of this because I was going to get the darker wood one, but then I thought, well, bugger it, I'm gonna get the lighter colored one and I'm going to paint it. But when I opened this and I saw that this is really shiny veneer type stuff, I went, well, I won't be painting it completely, but I will be painting some of the sections in this kit. I will be leaving most of it this color, and then there is a couple of sections, like there's gonna be some in the clock face here, which I will be painting, and there'll be some of the decorative front parts that I'll be painting. And at this point in time, it could change, but I am going to be using like a combination of black and gold paint pens. Now, I've got to test the paint pens to make sure that they actually go onto this shiny stuff and stick. I'm not going to sandpaper anything if it won't stick. If it doesn't stick, too bad. It's just, I will just make it how it is and maybe not paint it. But first, before we do that, because I've just jumped like way ahead, let's get cutting out all these little bits and deciding which ones to paint. I don't have a clock in my art studio / office, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to put a clock down here. Even though I've got my computer, I've got my phone, but most of the time I'm using my phone, or I don't want to reach for my phone. It's just easier to just tilt my head and look at the bench and see the clock. So I ended up ditching the gold because the gold pen would not write, color onto, or paint, I should say, onto this wood. It just wouldn't do it. Obviously there's some sort of different sort of mixture in it than the black, but the black went on pretty okay. There was some spots that sort of I had to go over again because it was just spreading away from the paint, like the paint was just parting, but other than that it was pretty good. It just stuck to it, and yeah, I couldn't really knock it. Like if you touched it, or if you push something like a piece into it, it would definitely chip off. So I had to be quite careful once I did paint these pieces not to chip any of that paint off. Now the clock is surprisingly silent. It doesn't tick, it just goes around and does not make a noise. So I was really happy about that. And it does say in the listing that the clock is quite a silent ticker. So very impressed with that, because there's nothing worse than listening to a clock in dead silence when you're trying to concentrate. I find the ticking of a clock is quite annoying, and I can tend to focus in on it. Now I ended up going in and painting all the edges black. It took me ages, but I just went in and did it, and don't regret anything. But yeah, it was very time consuming, and what I couldn't get with the paint pen because the nib was so big in those little nooks and crannies, I got with my Pigma Micron brush pen. Now I found this kit quite easy. It was a piece of piss, but that little piece of plastic that went into the front of the clock to sort of give it like the face was a absolute nightmare. I ended up having to glue that face in and leaving it overnight to just do its thing and stick it together, because I tried to get it together, but it kept sliding down, and yeah, that was the only fiddly part of this whole process. But I did break a little piece. But what I also really liked about this kit is it came with extras of those really small pieces, because they are quite easy to break, those little pieces. But all in all, I really enjoyed this kit, and you didn't have to use a X-Acto knife to pop any of these out. You just use your hands, just use your fingers, just pop them out. They just come straight out. It was really good, and that's the benefit to the laser cut. Now colouring in all these little pieces too that I decided to colour in with the black was a big decision to make, because I wasn't sure if it was going to look okay, but I think in the end it does work. Like, I think this thing would be okay completely just plain, but I wanted to add a little bit more of me into it, because this is a Gothic tower clock, so I really wanted to bring a bit more Gothic element into it, and I felt as though the black did that. It's a very easy kit. It is super fun, so simple. You could knock this thing out in probably an hour if you didn't paint it, but this thing took me over, a couple of hours, over about 3 days to do. But it's just really cool. Like, I had to do it. I had to paint little sections of this clock. So this is the finished clock. It was really good to do something different on my channel, to do something more craft-based than drawing. Hey, if you want me to include some more of these sort of kits, let me know, because if you like watching me build these things, I will do more of them. I won't do them like as much as I do the drawing, but obviously I will hunt around for some kits and I'll include them on my channel, every now and again. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and liked watching this Gothic clock come to life. I like it, I enjoy it, I look at it every day since I've made it, and it's basically sits where you see it now, on that bench, which is basically to the right of me and I can see it quite clearly, and no, it's a really good clock. So I am out of here, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.